They say the land remembers, but no one expected it to speak back. It was during the 10th year of a great drought that something truly strange occurred. As the sun climbed overhead one day, it grew dim and the sky took on the hue of twilight, as if night had fallen at noon. In this land, a successful harvest depends on timely rains, and the long dry season had already brought despair. Even the elders, who gathered families by firelight to tell stories of the dry season and its cruel effects, watched in stunned silence. The midday darkness seemed like an omen. Something unimaginable was coming. 3 days after the strange sky event, life returned to uneasy normality. Amahle carried her daughter Mwindo on her back down the familiar forest path, while their neighbor Sani walked beside them, holding her son Obi's hand as he darted playfully among the ferns. The children were laughing and carefree, oblivious to the dark omens that had visited their village. But the two mothers felt a silent tension growing between them. Amahle caught Sani's eye and offered a weak smile, recalling the old folk warning about the dry season. They said nothing, but the fear in their hearts was as real as the long drought itself. That very night, Amahle lay awake clutching Mwindo, her heart pounding. In the darkness, she thought she heard her daughter giggling, but when she checked, Mwindo lay sleeping peacefully. Before dawn, a villager ran in a panic. He had seen a little girl playing in Sani's courtyard at midnight. Amahle's blood went cold. Her daughter had never left her side. Sani's story was no less shocking. She remembered Obi sleeping beside her, yet someone claimed to have seen a little boy under Amahle's porch at sunrise. By morning, the village buzzed with whispers of restless spirits and curses, and each new impossible tale only deepened the mystery. As dusk fell, Amahle cornered Sani by the village fire. "Who are you really?" she demanded. Sani's lips trembled as she whispered, "I was never meant to live among you." Amahle felt a chill. In the firelight, Sani's feet hovered above the ground, casting no shadow. You're dead," Amahle gasped. Only the silent forest answered, and then a distant howl rose. Amahle's vision went dark. They say, when you hear a spirit confess before the moon rises, run. But Amahle did not run. She stood frozen, her child clutched tightly to her chest, her eyes locked on the woman who once fetched water beside her, Sani, her friend, now revealed to be neither living nor dead. "Sani," Amahle whispered, her voice cracked by disbelief. "How long have you walked among us?" Sani's eyes glowed softly in the firelight. "Since the last eclipse, when the earth cracked beneath Mount Oro and swallowed the children." Amahle's stomach turned. "That was 7 seasons ago." Sani nodded. "We were not meant to return, but the land cried out. The spirits of the lost began to stir, and with them, so did we." That same night, the village oracle, an aged woman called Grandmother Thandi, summoned the town to the stone circle. She had dreamed of ash falling like rain, of twins born in different bodies, of hearts beating in rhythm with the soil. "Amahoro's tears have awakened what we buried," she rasped, using the old name for the spirit of the motherland. "There is no drought. The earth is weeping." The villagers murmured. "Two children, Mwindo and Obi, carry the blood of both the living and the lost," she warned, pointing her bony finger. "They are not ordinary. Their dreams have opened the veil." Amahle stepped forward. "What do you mean?" But Thandi only said, "They are the key to what lies beneath." Over the next days, strange things began to happen. Mwindo spoke in tongues no one taught her. Obi dug holes in the courtyard and filled them with black stones, whispering to them as if they could hear. One evening, Amahle overheard her daughter humming a lullaby, but it wasn't a song from their tribe. It was one her own grandmother used to sing when Amahle was a child. A lullaby no one else alive should know. That night, Amahle watched Mwindo from the shadows. The little girl traced symbols into the dust with her finger, ancient tribal runes lost for centuries. Then she looked up and said, "To no one. He is waking." "Who?" Amahle asked, stepping forward. Mwindo looked straight at her mother, her eyes wide and glowing faintly gold. The heart. Grandmother Thandi led a secret procession into the northern forest. There, hidden beneath centuries of vine and silence, lay a broken shrine, half buried in earth, carved with forgotten sigils. "The heart of the Motherland sleeps here," Thandi said, "a being neither god nor ghost. He guards the boundary between the living and the spirit world." The runes on the shrine began to glow as Mwindo approached. The earth trembled beneath their feet. Then Sani stepped forward. "I was one of the guardians," she confessed, her voice solemn. "We were bound to this shrine to keep him asleep, but the drought weakened the seals. And now, he listens." It all made sense now. The darkness at noon, the children's strange behavior, the long drought. It wasn't a punishment. It was a warning. "The land isn't sick," Amahle said slowly. "It's resisting something." Thandi nodded. "Yes, the land is alive, and the heart is trying to rise through it." Then Obi, silent until now, stepped into the shrine circle and said in a voice that was not his, "He has already begun to remember." In that moment, the shrine cracked open at the base. A heartbeat, deep and slow, echoed through the forest like the drumbeat of the ancestors. Boom, boom, boom. The earth split at the center of the shrine, releasing a gust of warm air that smelled like smoke and iron. Amahle grabbed Mwindo and backed away. "What's happening?" Sani's face turned pale. "This is not what was supposed to happen. He's not waking. He's crossing." Suddenly, the trees twisted in unnatural shapes. The night wind howled like a choir of grieving spirits, and from beneath the shrine's cracked floor, a hand reached out, charred, ancient, and pulsing with golden veins. The children stood still, entranced, and then a voice, deep as thunder, gentle as rain, echoed from below. "Who has taken my heart from the Motherland?" Sani wept silently. "He was our protector once," she whispered. "Before the betrayal, before they tore out his heart and buried him in silence." Amahle demanded, "Then why does he rise now, after all these centuries?" Sani's voice cracked like old bark. "Because the world has forgotten what it means to listen to the land. And so, the land has called him back." The ground quaked as the hand broke fully through the shrine's floor, blackened and ancient, glowing with gold like fire under coal. The villagers screamed and scattered, but Amahle stood frozen, clutching Mwindo, her eyes locked on the being now rising from the earth. Obi, still entranced, stepped forward. "He knows me, Mama. He said I was made from his ribs." Grandmother Thandi, now leaning heavily on her staff, approached the pit. Her eyes shone with tears and reverence. The legends speak of Akim Oba, the first breath, the spirit who guarded harmony between land and life. But greed broke the covenant. The kings of men built cities on sacred ground. They poisoned rivers to mine gold. They burned forests to raise palaces. Amahle closed her eyes, her breath shaking. "And they buried him to silence the guilt." "Yes," said Thandi. 7 elders cast his spirit into the earth and scattered the pieces of his heart across the continent, so he could never rise again. "But 2 pieces remained," Sani said quietly. "They were born again as children." Amahle gasped. Her eyes flicked from Mwindo to Obi. "You mean they're not just children?" "They are vessels," Thandi whispered. "The last 2 fragments. His heart is whole now." As the full form of Akim Oba emerged, tall as a baobab, cloaked in shadows and light, time seemed to slow. His face bore no malice, only pain, as if the world itself ached through him. Who will return balance to the motherland? He asked, voice like the low rumble of distant thunder. The forest bent toward him. Animals quieted. The air held its breath. Then he turned to the children. My children, you may return my strength and awaken the land, or you may choose to remain, and the world will continue its forgetting. Amahle stepped forward, voice cracking. But they are just children. Akim Oba's eyes softened. That is why the choice must be theirs. Mwindo reached for Obi's hand. Together, they stepped into the shrine's center. Without fear, they placed their palms on the cracked earth. A blinding golden light burst outward. The trees bent toward it. Rivers began to murmur again in the distance, and the scent of wet earth filled the air. The drought lifted. Clouds began to gather above. But in the center of the light, the children vanished. Amahle collapsed where Mwindo once stood, screaming her name. Sani fell beside her, whispering Obi's. But the earth did not echo with silence. It hummed with new life. Grass returned to dusted hills. Crops burst from soil that had not tasted rain in years. Animals wandered down from the hills again. The people mourned the children as heroes. And then a miracle. Every night, as Amahle wept by the shrine, she heard a faint giggle carried by the wind. A lullaby sung in an ancient tongue, and flowers bloomed where her tears fell. Mwindo and Obi were gone, yet somehow present in everything green, everything alive. They had not died. They had become the pulse of the motherland. Many seasons passed. The shrine remained sacred ground, no longer feared, but honored. Children were told the story of the heart who rose to forgive the world. But one evening, as Amahle sat weaving a mat beneath a tree planted in Mwindo's honor, she noticed something peculiar. The tree's bark pulsed faintly. A single word appeared, glowing gold beneath the surface. Awaken. Her hands trembled. She looked to the western sky and saw clouds gathering again. Not with rain, but with something older. Something watching. Something waiting.